The fish.
All right, here's the next obstacle. It is the fish. Oh, it takes one hit. Oh, it takes 2 hits. No, Mr. Wilson.
I like the Mr. Reverse way. You can reverse it and do this. Laser.
But once again,
Sorry, Meldon's having a frog party.
Oh man, and he just leveled up there, so you almost actually killed the frog that he was trying to.
Oh my god, people.
Oh my god, Glide wins restored. Oh my god, they found Stomp.
Oh
What the heck? What is this?
This is fast underneath them.
Oh, Razio fell! Oh no! Oh, Razio!
Hello there, Ori Randomizer Tournament people. How are you doing today? My name is Trojan Dude 12, and I have the pleasure of commentating this special exhibition match with the one and only Gramilios. How are you doing, dude?
I'm good. I'm very excited to see this. This is actually, we'll jump into the details in a moment, but this is the first time that we're showing off the newest, fanciest, shiniest 2.0 randomizer version on the big Ori speedrunning screen.
Indeed, and there's some really cool stuff that you can see there at the bottom. Do you want to kind of dive into it a little bit, Grim, on some of the changes from what we've seen in the rest of the singles tournament?
Yeah, so before I talk about the changes, a lot of people here probably already know this, but just as a quick overview of what it is we're doing today. Today was supposed to be the third place match, well, the third and fourth place match in our singles tournament between Raz and Fluffy, but unfortunately Fluffy's been feeling a little bit ill and so had to drop out of this race, and due to scheduling conflicts, we basically had to replace that match with this exhibition that we're doing today. So Sigma took Fluffy's place and are doing the 2.0 exhibition like Trojan mentioned. So even though you just asked me, I'll throw it over to you again for a moment to talk about sort of the 2.0 changes, and then we can jump into the expert component of it as well.
Yeah, sure. So going into 2.0, so what you've seen in 1.3 is that all of the pickups, petrified plants was added into, I believe it was 1.2, and that rolled over to 1.3, in addition to the ramped up experience pickups. So now going to 2.0, there's another plot twist that has been thrown in, and now we are able to get the activation of teleporters. Now, this does not include the Glades one because it is, easy to get to. You kind of need access to it at the very start in order to go other places. But every other teleporter on the map is fair game, and this actually changes up the way the logic is going to throw around their route, and much higher probability for them to get the massive runaround going from teleporter to teleporter.
Right, that's true. Along with this being the 2.0 randomizer, that's not the only thing that changed in 2.0, by the way. There are also some scattered routing changes in terms of what's possible in the logic based on both the all skills reroutes, especially the frog getting used to go into swamp early, but also some scattered pickups and whatnot that were discovered over the course of this randomizer tournament. That's all that changed in 2.0. But on top of that, this is also an expert difficulty seed as opposed to a standard difficulty seed. Standard difficulty being used in both the singles and doubles versions of this tournament throughout the last few weeks. Trojan, do you want to talk a little bit about expert difficulty as compared to standard?
Yeah, so standard is for people who know like the all skills route, and pretty straightforward, mini damage boost, yada yada yada. But now we're throwing in expert. You can imagine it like a hard difficulty. So there's a couple major things that got added into this. The first thing is that before, it only put pickups where it expected you to have the skills, the progression of what the logic wanted you with, like just picking up skills. Now it expects you to have some ability tree pickups like upgrades, so like air dash, charge dash, There's charge flame efficiency, that type of stuff. On top of that, now the damage boost, instead of it being what's just required by the base 3 health, it can be however many health cells the logic wants to throw at you. Now those damage boosts are into play. So again, just like with the rooting thing, these runners have to really make sure that they are thinking of every option in their brain before they really count something out.
But wait, there's more. Not only is this a 2.0 randomizer, which, like Trojan talked about, introduces the possibility of teleporter activation from a pickup, and we're doing expert difficulty, this seed was also generated using an argument that allows harder, or that prefers harder paths, I should say. So on top of expert difficulty and 2.0, which is already pretty difficult, this seed is also, with high probability, going to be even more difficult than that. So I would expect to see both of these guys have to do some pretty silly shenanigans over the course of the run.
Yep, exactly. And one thing I want to just kind of note on this exhibition match, both of these guys have really good all skills times, you can see from the format. About the stats and everything. The one thing to note is that Sigma is the one that kind of created the randomizer, so he understands the logic theoretically the best. But Raziel was one of the strongest people going into the tournament, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that dichotomy of expectations. I think Sigma a lot more of the logic-based guy, Raziel a lot more of the technical, strong movement-based guy, and how that's going to mash up in this exhibition.
Right, and one more additional point before we get going, which will be pretty soon here, is that for the rest of this tournament, for the singles tournament anyway, the runners have been doing the limit keys option as opposed to shards, which means that keys to dungeons are limited to major pickups in the world, like activating a skill tree or finishing an escape sequence. But today, these runners, even though they're solo, they'll be doing shards, which means that they will, along with all of the other difficulty options in the seed, they'll likely have to 100% quite a bit more of the game before they find the shards that they're looking for. It's always interesting doing shards as a solo runner. In a way, I think it's easier than doubles, because you don't need to communicate. It just means that you have to keep track of a lot more in your head, because it's likely that you'll have to check many, many more pickups.
Yeah, definitely. And I've enjoyed, since you were the one that was in the doubles tournament and you were on to practice, I really enjoyed watching your solo shards runs as well. You were kind of the only person that was doing it, and kind of helps you get a sense of, all right, I know that I found this shard, but I can't get complacent now. I got to keep on thinking about where other possible pickups are. And it looks like we are now underway. Should be seeing it here in a second, and we're going to get the stream synced up. First question, as always with the seed, what do you think we're going to get at the start, Grim?
Climb.
Oh man, you might have just triggered Raziel. Like, he probably shuddered a little bit right now.
Even though they can't hear me, I triggered both of them.
Probably.
What about you? What's your prediction?
I hope that in the first 4 pickups that are easily obtainable, that we get Forlorn Teleporter, as I think chat was all into and are pretty much praying for RNGesus to provide it for them.
Well, on the topic of teleporter, something I want to mention specifically in regards to this 2.0 logic, because it's such a departure from the 1.3 logic.
Mm-hmm.
Not every teleporter is going to be available in the logic all the time. The only way that the logic could give you a teleporter is if you could go to that teleporter and in turn get other pickups. So for example, if we did, much as I would love to see a Forlorn Teleporter from the first pickup, that would be incredible. If that were to be the case, these runners with their current skill set, only running and jumping, would not be able to effectively get anything else in Forlorn without just dying over and over again. It would be a waste of time. So if these guys get teleporters, and I hope that they do, you can also expect that the logic will give them skills somewhere that will allow them to get additional pickups from that teleporter.
Yep, definitely. And just want to kind of talk about the first 2 pickups. They got a Mapstone as the first pickup, followed by a Keystone. So there's a very high chance that one of the next ones will be a Keystone, and people will be going to the left-sided glades. Yes, there is another Keystone. And now they'll be able to actually activate that map altar on the way down, which is nice that they don't have to worry about if they're going to grab one or not on the way there. They kind of already have it. Ooh, and a water vein shard at Fake Flippers.
Now, Sigma did die, and so he doesn't actually have that pickup, but he knows it's there. Randomizers are all about knowledge, so as long as he knows it's there. It's not actually in the logic right now. Trojan did mention that the expert difficulty seed can expect longer and more difficult damage boosts, but for Fake Flippers, it expects you to have 4 health, not 3. So it's pretty likely that that pickup will be in the intended logic soon, but it doesn't really matter whether it's intended. The important thing is that Sig knows it's there. And I missed whether Raziel checked it. Grenade. As another side note.
Followed by Warp Return. All right.
Well, as another side note that you might notice in this version of the randomizer, different pickups are now color-coded, just for easier viewability. It doesn't change anything functionally in how the randomizer works.
Yep, definitely. So now with the Grenade, they're going to be able to open up every single area of the map now that's covered by those breakable, walls with charged flames and grenades. And also, with the free grenades, they also have the petrified plants. So there's a lot of, this opens up a lot of the map very early on.
Well, it's nice that they got that as well, because expert logic can, if they are given dash, it's possible that the logic would expect them to level up to charge dash in order to break blue plants. Now we know that they have grenades, so they won't have to go through that. So that's kind of got to be a relief for these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one other thing, I wonder if Raziel with this mega energy, okay, he's gonna go over and sequence break.
He can't get up there. He doesn't have wall jump.
Oh, you're right. He can't.
Yep, there it goes.
Ah,
this is tricky. They don't have climb or wall jump. A lot of times when you're playing randomizer, you just get stuck in autopilot because in almost every single seed you do, certainly when you're doing a traditional all skills run, there's charge jump from Sigma. It had to be there. Sigma making the smart play and going and checking in. These guys had no verticality until just a moment ago when Sigma got charge jump. And I'm guessing we'll see Raz go there right off the bat since his options are extremely limited at the moment. Yep, there it goes.
Yep, there he is. And charge flame tree was nothing. But right now they can actually, I think they can sequence break right now. Yes, they can. They can sequence break up into Hollow Grove, even though they don't have a wall movement ability. You can break this little barrier right here and get up there. And so, okay, so Sig's going to do an interesting little thing right here. He's going to go over and just get this cutscene out of the way really early. We'll see if Raziel does the same, but I like this play from Sig because it gives him, the access to not have to worry about this cutscene later on.
It's a pretty standard play. You want this teleporter. I can't think of a seed where I've ever not watched that cutscene. You always want it, unless by some crazy fluke of logic you had everything you needed and you never have to come back to Hollow Grove. These guys could go off to the right. They do have Grenade, which will let them get into Spider Sack area, but they still don't have wall jump or climb, which makes their movement a little bit tricky, especially getting to the 5th energy cell. So this is a smart play by Sig. Looks like he's going back off to the right, although it would also be an option to go off to the left and check Valley entrance. I wonder what Raz is going to do.
Yeah. Interesting thing too. Oh, they don't have wall jump, but it's interesting that neither of them moved that little, they pulled the levers so that the little vertical wall could go down since they were down in charge flame. That's interesting because with something like charge jump, double jump, they can get to that pickup in case they get double jump soon. And we'll see if they remember to go backtrack to that orb, because I think it was in the previous match that Covert was in. That was a part of the logic. So, and Sig.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
that's
God,
okay.
Sig.
That's okay. Raz, by the way, took a quick death. He's checking Valley entrance. Nothing valuable so far. Sig opt and go off to the right instead. So we're already seeing a bit of a split. And you mentioned remembering the pickups. I would not expect these two runners, given their experience both with Randomizer and the game itself, to forget. Did Sigma just do a save anywhere to get down here? He
did Zombie Ori. That's a little trick. Yeah, there's a trick right there where if you save while Ori is dead, you will respawn at that point with 0 health and have iframes to walk. So that's a nice little nifty trick Sig did there. Unfortunately, it didn't really pay off for him all too much.
Now, remember earlier we mentioned that this seed prefers harder paths, and you're kind of already seeing that. Having grenade is nice, having charge jump is nice, but these guys' movement options are actually quite limited. Sig making a smart play and going into Blackroot Burrows, but along the way to Hollow Grove and everything, they've already checked most of what they can check. I guess Raziel can go down to the Spider Pillars area down in that direction, but I think Sig's making the right play here. He'll be able to traverse all of Blackroot Burrows using charge jump, and grenade on top of that will just be a nice perk. Those grenades are just not blowing it up.
that hitbox is pretty troll. You have to hit it in that very top right corner for some reason. I don't know why. It's interesting choice by the game to only allow you in that area. But we'll see. I think Sigma went back up and checked it. I don't think it was anything. As Sigma is trying to make his way over to the orb.
He'll get up there in a moment, yeah. Well, we knew this was going to be a bit of a starved seed with the difficulty, and we're kind of already seeing that. Not literally starved in the sense that they don't have enough keystones, but they are having to be pretty thorough in their checking. Raziel just got the 5th energy cell. I missed whether Sigma was able to pick it up, but Sigma does have a decent lead on Raziel at this point. Earlier, Raziel was able to get the Mega Energy and tried to sequence break. His Mega Energy has since expired, so he cannot take that sequence break even if he wanted to.
So one interesting thing that we did not see Sig do that we might see Raziel do is go over to left glades. And that is something, maybe something is kind of put over there. We'll see if maybe Raziel goes that direction. Okay. We did not get a chance to see what was going on with a couple of the pickups that were inside of the main room of BRB. But I'm sure we'll get some update on that here in a little bit.
So if you're playing this seed, then what do you think your next move is? I guess they don't really have much choice but to just go check a bunch of random one-offs. Raziel's going around the purple spinners area. He's already able to check one pickup, but now with the charge jump he can check the other ones. Meanwhile, Sig is finally made it over to Dash, and he'll be, I'm sure, going over to check the map stone as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And Raziel is going to be able to check this pickup right here next to wall jump. Oh, it's a Gumot Steel Shard. All right. Well, that's actually very useful right now, because if this makes you need to go to Forlorn to get some of the shards, that's one less that Sigma has, or Sigma has one less than him at this point. So hopefully he doesn't get gated.
I wonder if the seed will send them to Forlorn. We have quite a ways before we get there. There's a lot to do on the right side, and then there's a lot of left side that will likely be available. Good job by Sig getting the dash plant, by the way. I'm just very, very curious, given that this is a hard path seed, whether it will end up sending them there. It's also always possible that they'll get a teleporter pickup, which we haven't seen any of yet.
Mm-hmm, exactly. The other thing, too, is that now that he found that 4th hell cell at the dash plants, Sig can go and get the water vein shard that was at Fake Flippers as well. So we have to keep that in mind and see if he backtracks to that right now.
He could at any time. The nice thing about the water vein shard being in the Fake Flippers area is that it's very, very easy to get back to anytime you want to. Just Alt-R, and it's essentially right next to you, especially once you get dash or something. It'll take just absolutely no time to get back there. So I'm sure in Sig's mind, and I still don't recall whether Raz checked it or not. Maybe he did. But from Sig's perspective, I'm sure he's just thinking, I have to get 2 water vein shards, and then he knows where the last one is, since he can backtrack there anytime. And there's another one.
Oh man. All right.
Of the devil.
This could be a really... So what I'm kind of thinking, based on what I've seen so far, it's very likely there's a water vein shard somewhere in the rest of like Iceless, like Thornfeld Swamp area, so that they can get an early entrance into Ginso. Because right now they have grenade and charge jump. It's not... They could do water vein, or sorry, they could do Ginso if they find that last shard because of the fact of having charge jump.
On the right side of your screen, you see Raz going through Blackroot Birds, which you've already seen Sig do, so I don't think we'll find anything incredibly exciting in there. I'm sure that once Raz gets to dash, he'll continue down into Boulder area because, of course, he's going to. Have we seen either of these runners go through the spider pillar area, like drop down the spider sack and go through there?
Oh,
Sigma
the revenge of the fish!
That's fine. It'll only take him a second to get this. The fish is not really behaving. There it is.
God, we're not even in the final escape yet. Sorry, revenge of the fish.
Do you think we'll see Sig take a trip down to the spider pillars? His options are already pretty limited. He's already exhausted Blackroot Burrows and gone down to the boulder area. No stomp, no bash, no rocket jumping because of no dash. Only 2 energy. Options are still quite limited.
Yeah, very, very limited. He's actually going to get this pickup that I don't believe Raziel got, but can't remember. Okay, it's just energy regen, so it's not that big of a deal. But now he's going to go over to left glade, which you already saw Raziel do. They're pretty much even at this point.
And how's Sig doing? Sig has 3 keystones, and Raziel has 4. I do not recall if there's a keystone in the left side. If there is, then we'll likely see Sig go ahead and... Well, actually, he probably won't go through the door, because why waste the keystones? You can get there from the charge flame area. So yeah. I take that back. He wouldn't open the door even if he could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
well,
I believe there were 2 keystones over there. There were 2 or 3. I can't remember.
I'd be very surprised if we see Sig open this door.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and there's another one, as you said. Meanwhile, Raz approaching the plants. Where is Sig going to go next, I wonder? He might even be making his way back down to wall jump. That pickup that Raziel checked, but I don't think that Sigma did.
Yeah, Sigma did not, because at that point, he decided to go to wall jump first before pretty much anything else. And did not have charge jump, obviously, at that point.
Sig also sitting on a map stone, and it looks like Raziel is as well. They both only activated 1 map altar, which was very valuable. It was a grenade in this case, but they haven't activated another one because they haven't really gotten to another one yet. Well, there is actually one down in Blackroot Burrows.
Yeah, actually, oh, you know what? This is okay. So this is an interesting thing now with 2.0 happening. That BRB teleporter is not active for Sig, and remember they have other map stones.
The BRB teleport's not active. Didn't he jump on it?
Well, no. Remember, he has to get the activation for it.
You can still activate them normally. It's just you can also activate them through pickups.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So his teleporter is still active, but I don't think the Sigma checked, the map altar down there. We'll see where he goes next. I still do think that spider pillars area with charge jump, they should be able to, well, with charge jump and grenade, these guys should be able to drop the spider sack and go over there.
Yeah,
given that there's a fair number of pickups that will also lead them down into Grotto, it'll lead them quite a ways away, and it looks like that is likely where Sigma's going right now, which is not only the smart play, it's one of his only plays. This hard difficulty expert seed is really paying off in that the seed is not giving up its secrets easily.
Yeah, I'm a little curious why he didn't go to BRB and check the map stone. That's a very odd choice on Sigma's part, because it doesn't take very long to do, and he's got charge jump.
I don't recall either. It's possible they it's possible that he did not have a map stone at the time. Raziel certainly does, so I'm sure we'll see Raz check it in just a second here.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to know. I would say direct your attention to the right side of your screen for just a minute, because we'll probably see that pickup from Raziel. But at that point, Sig is going to be in a new area that Raziel has not been to yet. Really, really interested to see what's going to happen next. There's maybe, while we're waiting, by the way, Raziel just picked up the same extra air dash from Raziel.
Okay.
That's nice to have. They don't have dash yet, of course. One other point we can mention kind of while we're waiting on some exploration from these 2 players. Another interesting point about the expert difficulty seeds, and that's going to the left side. In standard difficulty, the seed is guaranteed to give you both stomp and bash somewhere on the right side of the map before you go over to left side, or like in Valley Entrance, but somewhere before you actually go true left side. Not the case in expert. Only one of bash or stomp is required. Of course, they might still get both, but it's not actually required that they get both.
Yep, exactly. Raziel looks like he's making a similar play by going through that area of Hollow Grove. Sigma is coming up to the Iceless area right now. And so we'll have to see... okay, this will be his extra air dash pickup right here.
Mm-hmm.
And when Raziel gets there, we'll get to see what map 3 is. Oh, now they're at 4 energy, so this opens up quite a bit more of the map as well. Oh, and there's double jump.
Sig. That'll be very, very valuable. I also noticed that Raziel was just going for the pickup, the orb above Charge Flame. That'll be much easier to get with double jump. Sigma, I'd say right now, has a little bit of a lead on Raziel. Nothing too substantial, especially because Raziel will get double jump and get a lot of these pickups momentarily. Also, if there's something interesting from the third map altar, then we'll see that from Raziel sooner than we see it from Sigma. But just being in this area opens up quite a bit. And as you said, 4 energy will open up quite a bit as well. There's the 4 energy door back in the Spider Sack area. They could use it to go into Death Gauntlet, although they could also reach Death Gauntlet just by going around Isis area where Raziel is now. It's an energy cell. So that will put Raziel up to 5 energy total. That's kind of nice to have.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And I am curious if we're going to see a split here. No, it looks like we're seeing the same thing. Raziel could have... Well, no, he has 3 health. Actually, he cannot get over to Grotto that way. I take it back. So this is his only play.
He tried to get Dash Plant. The truck actually mentioned a little bit earlier. He tried to get the Dash Plant, but he failed it a few times and left it there. And that was the other health cell.
Yeah, that's right. This is also interesting. Neither of these runners have wall jump or climb yet. So even though they have a decent bit of mobility with double jumping and charge jump, there's quite a bit that's going to be limited or at least more difficult to reach.
Mm-hmm.
Sigma just a little bit ahead of Raziel. I'd expect at this point that we would see Raz roughly mirror Sigma's path and check all the same pickups, because that is really the only play for Raziel to do right now. I wonder what the next valuable pickup is going to be. Having Grenade already opens up quite a bit. Like, without Grenade, oh my gosh.
Oh,
look at that.
There you go, Sig. Yeah, the double jump strats. Let's go.
It's beautiful.
Oh,
I do just wonder what the next valuable pickup's going to be. Like, what pickup could allow them to go to more places? Getting another Water Vein Shard would give access to Ginso, which would be very, very valuable. Getting Stomp would open up a few things. Getting Clean Water would open up a few things.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder what they're going to get. It's also interesting, even in a standard difficulty seed, there's always a question of when you get Stomp, but especially when you get Bash, do you try going left side without getting the other one? In expert difficulty, since you're not even guaranteed that it exists on the right side, I wonder when we find one of those pickups, which player will end up going left side first.
Yeah. Another thing, too, that was interesting, neither one of them went to Grotto, even though they just found double jump and could have gone into Grotto and Gumo's hideout as well.
Well, it's an interesting problem. Like, once you get to this point in the game, you can go around to Grotto, you can go around long route, kind of where we used to go before Iceless was found way back in the early days of Ori. Neither of these runners has checked Horror Fields yet that I saw. So there's quite a bit to check, and it's hard to know which is more optimal in terms of density of pickups for time spent checking them. It's sort of like it's a bit of a crapshoot, and so we did see Raz and Sigma going along the same route. It's hard to say that that's not the correct play.
Oh man, a little funny thing just happened. Raziel got the little front bonk on the petrified plant right there, that it gave itself a little dunk.
Classic. Left side of the screen, we do see Sig going down to Grotto. It looks like he's being very thorough, which I like. He's going to take a little detour into what I like to call the Teeth Corridor, this little area barred by spikes, rather than going straight down. This is another area where there's a lot to check. These guys could go down to Grotto. Oh, and a third water feature.
Oh, okay. So this is actually really massive. So if Raziel goes right now and checks this area, he's going to have 2 out of 3. And then he knows that last water vein shard is over in Fake Flipper. The question is he going to immediately go back for it? That's the question.
Do you think you would immediately go back for it?
Personally, yes, I would. Even with 3, you can still do it theoretically, so I think it's definitely worth it to try.
Well, there's also the question of these guys could go to Ginso Tree, and we will definitely see them go there before too long. But there's a whole area to check down in Grotto as well, and a fair density of pickups. They have Grenade, which means on the left side of Grotto in the hideout, they can check plants. There's the Vanilla Water Vein that Sigma just checked in the Experience Orb off to the right. So there's a lot of pickups down here that might make Ginso Tree quite a bit faster. So it's sort of hard to say what is the more optimal choice in terms of what to check first.
Ooh, interesting. So now they're actually, Raziel is at, I believe he's at 4, I think he's at 5 mapstones. I believe we've now found 5 mapstones on the playing field. So mapstone 5 could gate something. Oh, that's the one I think Sigma had got. Okay, so now, or is that 6 mapstones?
Well, there's still the question of how many they can access. There are only 5 map pedestals, altars, monuments, whatever you want to call them, on the right side of the map. 4 sort of in the main area, and then 1 in Swamp as well. And a Sunstone Shard from Sigma on the left side.
Okay.
Also, one thing I want to mention, you're already seeing Sig do quite a few of these damage boosts. Sigma just did a 3 health damage boost. Sorrow Teleporter! Do you see that?
Oh, boy.
Did you see Sig just, like,
Okay. This is actually ridiculously cool. If they can find Climb, I think they can... Oh, God, can they? If they can find Climb,
suddenly
they
the
can
map
almost
is
go
open.
to Sunstone. Like, it's really close.
This is what's exciting about teleporters. Ordinarily, doing 1.3 difficulty randomizer for the rest of this tournament, you just have to... Oh, and another Sunstone Shard. You just get whatever skills you get. You're always gated from the left side by some number of abilities. You're always gated from Swamp by some number of abilities. Well, I guess you still are for Swamp. But with the Grove Teleporter, which is not very useful because they already have the Grove Teleporter. But with the Sorrow Teleporter active, that just opens up a huge amount. It means that they don't need Stomp and Bash to get over there. They can get over there and get some other pickups even without the abilities that they would have ordinarily needed to get over there in the first place. It's a really, really interesting pickup, and I wonder if we'll see Sig go over there.
Man, dude, Raziel needs this 4th health because I'm seeing all these pickups that Sigma's getting, and unfortunately, without that 4th health, it makes it infinitely harder for Raziel to ever get it.
Sort of the nature of Randomizer. It can be those one-off pickups that can make quite a bit of difference. By the way, Sigma has his full Water Vein. Raziel only has 2 shards, although he knows where the 3rd one is. But like you said, he only has 3 health. This is going to kill him.
Oh, God, is he... Oh, no, okay. I thought he was going to zombie Ori. I was like, oh, my God, the madman.
Man, Sigma is starting to take a pretty solid lead right now. He's checked a large portion of Grotto. He still has to go over to the right side of Grotto towards Double Jump, and he has what looks like 10 or 11 Keystones, so he is just absolutely good to go on Keystones. Triple Jump, Charge Jump, they still definitely want Wall Jump or Climb, especially Climb, because it would allow a substitute for Stomp and Grenade Jumping.
Yeah, and he's got plenty of energy cells. He's up to 8 energy now.
Unbelievable.
So, man, it is not starving. It's starving him of health, but it's sure not starving him of energy.
That's absolutely true. Sigma going to check the mini boss first, which is a smart play. He does still need 1 more Sunstone Shard before he can get to the end. I want to say, to be honest, I'm not actually incredibly familiar with the 2.0 logic short of the sort of basic logic that I was telling everyone about. I guess you could go into the Horror Teleporter too, couldn't you? Or no, the Horror Teleporter is under lava, isn't it?
It's under lava.
That would not be available.
You could save drop. But that's not
you couldn't get out of it. If you went to the Horror Teleporter, you wouldn't be able to get out. So that's, much as it would be fun to just hang out in Horror all day long, I don't think that would be very useful, which means that definitely you do need the 3 Sunstone Shards to get in there, and Sigma has 2 of them. Well, I'm sure we'll see Raz find another one before too long down here. In fact, yep, there it is. But Sigma's just made a decent bit of headway checking all of this stuff. Sigma has already checked the Rolling Crushers area behind the 4 energy door, and Raz still has to do all of that. So there's a lot of race to go yet, a lot of things could happen. It'll be especially interesting to see whether Sigma opts to teleport to the Sorrow Teleporter that he activated.
Get up there, Raz. All right, there you go.
This is just fascinating and opened up so many more options for routing. I mean, we know that they're going to need Charge Jump Tree before the end of the run, and now they can get there pretty quickly with the right skills.
Definitely. And Another thing, Raziel has chosen not to go back for that other water vein shard. I'm sure he's like hoping that he gets some other health cells somewhere else, but other than this mega health right here, it's not really providing him. So we'll see if he decides to try and preserve this so that he can go back and get that.
Also, by the way, thanks to Kyrefell in the truck, we also have Meldon in the truck, and Richard helping in the truck as well. Kyrefell pointed out that Raziel missed the Sorrow teleporter pickup.
Ah, okay.
So that is interesting. Also, pretty ballsy play by Sig here, going to check the underwater energy door without clean water. He can do it with his health and with save points to restore some health.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that Raziel certainly hasn't checked yet. Nah, nothing valuable in this case, but still a good check. Given that they already have a lot of different keystones.
Mm-hmm, definitely. So we'll see Raziel here probably go over to double jump. There wasn't really anything of value over there. Raz! Oh my god, what? Oh boy.
I mean,
he went back there for it, but it's a little dicey.
To be fair, this is an expert difficulty, hard path seed. I think a lot of what these guys are going to be forced to do is dicey. In a normal standard seed, you can decide whether you want to go for the really dangerous strats. In this seed, you might have to. So
you know what'd be hilarious, Grim? It would be
What's that?
hilarious is if wall jump was that charge jump tree.
That would be amazing. I mean, it could be
man.
at this point. And this is interesting, sort of, as you mentioned earlier in this race, we're sort of rapidly running out of pickups. I don't think either runner has gone to Horror Fields yet. They have one pickup to check there.
Mm-hmm.
Sigma can go into Ginso Tree, which it looks like he's going to be doing right now. I'm struggling off the top of my head to think of too many other pickups. There's things like the Glaze Laser and the Glazer and the Grenade pickup above it, but I don't know that we'll be seeing that check too early. Definitely the right play by Sigma to go into the Ginso Tree here.
Yep, I agree with you as well. So we'll see if there's a couple early plants to get in here, as well as an XP drop. Oh God, Sig, please! All right,
This is interesting.
You're fine, Sig.
Remember that Sig doesn't have wall jump. So if you're, well, everyone's familiar with the movement in the first move of Ginso. Remember that that's not a possibility here. Thankfully, with triple jump, you can sort of do a pseudo wall jump in a bunch of different places. So movement is still relatively open, but I'm sure these guys will breathe a sigh of relief if and when they find climb or wall jump. I wonder, can you complete the seed without wall jump or climb? One of them?
Yes, because you can charge dash the I think you can.
Well, we'll find out, I guess, as the seed progresses. It'll also be an interesting question for whether Sigma decides to finish out Ginso after he gets Batch. He does have plenty of keystones to continue up to the top if he wants to. And also, if you take a look at the right side of your screen, I'll be very curious to see where Raziel decides to go next. I think he's sort of roughly caught up to Sigma in terms of number of pickups checked. Maybe he's missed one or two things. Yep, as expected, Raz going to get that Water Vein Shard. Nice job surviving that.
Yep, he
using
got
his
health regen.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Good job by him. So with that check, I think we can safely assume Raz will be teleporting to the Thornfelt swamp area and going into Ginso, although Sigma still has a pretty decent lead. Still plenty of race to go left yet, and there's a lot that could happen. And remember that Raziel did not get the Sorrow teleporter pickup that Sigma did. So even after all of this, maybe they'll get something amazing like Bash and Stomp and everything will be fine and good. But if not, there will be an interesting question of whether Sigma decides to teleport all the way to Sorrow Pass. And if that's the only option, how long it takes Raziel to go back and get that pickup.
Mm-hmm. Yep, agreed. Because that Sorrow teleporter is it's turning out to be something very interesting at this point because they're not really getting much of anything. I mean, Sigma's found 1 billion keystones in Ginso. That's not really helping him all that much.
No.
So yeah, so we'll see if this improves at all. Oh my goodness gracious, the grenades.
This is an interesting little problem as well. Sig does not have Stomp, and he doesn't have Climb and Charge Jump, which you can use to simulate the Stomp by sort of aiming your Charge Dash downward, which means that he just had to skip 2 pickups. And given the silliness of how difficult this logic is, it is entirely possible that those could be something valuable, and they'll have to come back here later with Stomp or Climb. Maybe not, but I kind of hope they have to.
Come on.
As expected, we saw Raz go into the infantry as well.
Sick. Yes, he made it up there. Sweet.
Nicely done, nicely done. That is the sort of maneuver that in a standard seed would absolutely be a sequence break. In expert, not a sequence break. That could be expected by the logic since the seed has given him enough health to do it. Nice quick kill on the mini boss. Sigma will be grabbing the teleporter. I wonder he'll either just back out or more likely he'll just get it and then continue up to the top.
He has to. I can. Oh no, you know what? You can get up there. Never mind. You can get up there with triple jump.
Yeah, he'll be able to do it. I'm sure Sigma
nice.
knows his silly cheating tricks.
Yeah, it's really hard with double jump because I have actually tried that with double jump. It's really hard. It's very doable, but it's much more trivial with triple jump.
So again, I'd say for the time being, probably keep your eye on the left side of your screen for Sigma, since he's more likely to find some of these interesting pickups first. For the time being, at least, we will see Raziel sort of follow in Sigma's footsteps, which is the correct choice. And I'm very curious to see what we'll get that's valuable. I did not actually know you could break that with charge jump.
I'm confused what he's doing.
Well, making you safe. It's good to be safe when you play this game. That's all.
Yeah.
He's going for a core skip.
He's going for core skip.
Sigma, you madman. He's
Come on.
just trying to
give
kill
him the frog. Give him the XP.
Froggy. Come on, Froggy.
Yes!
I can't believe it.
Core skip. And a touchdown by Sigmasin.
ultimate swag. I love it. Remember that experience pickups in a randomizer are random, just like everything else. So unlike a normal all skills run, you really can't route out a core skip. So pretty fantastic that Sigma was able to pull that off. And he found Bash.
Woohoo! All right.
Christmas came early.
So now that he's bound Bash, the Sorrow teleporter is even more important now, because at this point with Bash, you can actually get back to... God, I'm trying to think. You can actually get a couple of the pickups now around Sorrow. There's not much, but there's a couple one-offs you can get.
It's going to be difficult. This is also a smart move by Sigma to finish out the escape, not only because there are pickups up here, but because through the natural flow of the game, it will land him right in Swamp, which is kind of where he wants to be anyway. Neither of these players have explored Swamp yet. There's also a map altar over there, which will be quite valuable. Meanwhile, we see Raz following in Sigma's footsteps as expected. Sigma definitely with a decent lead at this point. And the third Sunstone shard. That's huge. They're done with shards. Is Sigma gonna get? Yep, he's gonna take this Frankie for a ride. and an even longer ride. Wow. That was a good save by Sigma.
Oh no, Sig!
Water strikes again.
Ginso escape takes another victim.
Well, this is fascinating. Remember early on that we mentioned this is solo shards, and for the rest of the tournament, all of the solo matches have been limit keys. So one of the major potential limiters doing a solo, well, any shard seed, but especially when you're doing it by yourself, is finding all of those shards. But now Sigma has all of them, and Razo will be getting all of them as well by the time he's done with the escape. And I would be very shocked if Raz did not continue on to finish the escape, which means that at this point there is one objective, and that is to get to the trees. And a secondary objective along with that is to try to get all the skills that you need to get to the trees, like climb to be able to do charge jumps off the wall, or stomp especially would be very nice at this point.
Yep, definitely agree. Oh my goodness, Sig.
Good job by Sigma.
He went for the riskier one. You can actually go on the left right there and have a little area to jump on. But going to the right, he went for the other side, Raziel. Other side.
He'll figure it out.
Okay, never mind. He'll back out. Yeah, he got it.
All right, well, Sigma's now in Swamp. He'll be able to explore a bunch of things here. They still don't have clean water, so Sigma's, despite all his nice health and the fact that expert seeds can expect damage boosts, it won't expect him to go underwater enough to get all the crazy pickups down there. But a few of these pickups he'll be able to get, although he still can't stomp anything. And at the moment, he actually could get up to the energy cell through double bashing, but double bashing is not expected in an expert difficulty seed. which means that that energy cell up there is currently not in the intended logic. It would be if they could do grenade jumps with climb.
Yeah, so let's see what Sig gets from this area around the stomp tree. There are 3 pickups he can get right here, including the underwater one, which is a damage boost with 5 health, is easy to get to. So we'll see if this provides any... Oh, he decides to not check. That's an interesting choice by Sig. He decides to not check those 2 extra pickups in Swamp.
He also didn't check
really
the map stone, did he?
No.
I think it went straight to the right. That's an interesting choice.
Huh.
I wonder if that's a calculated decision or, well, it may be just a bit of a gamble. By the way, Raziel did pick up Bash as well, so he'll be continuing through the escape. As expected, he'll be very happy to get that 3rd Sunstone shard on the way. It'll be interesting to see if Raziel decides to pick up a few of those things that Sigma did not. And if there's something valuable, like what if one of those things is Stomp?
All right, here we go. The Sorrow play from Sigma. So he can get over here.
Oh, I
he's
can't
gonna
believe
take
it. Check
the
this
spider
out.
shot down. Yeah. This is...
That's-
Oh, he missed!
That's okay. His save point is right there. That's a smart play. You can actually break this wall in a few ways. You can sort of damage boost down to it and do a charge jump, but that's much more difficult to do, and he actually can't really do it given that he already took a bit of damage. So certainly the right play to do this set of double bashing. Remember that double bashing is not intended by the logic. So doing what he's doing right now is actually a bit of a sequence break as well. I think he could probably go back around towards the charge jump tree, although I do not recall offhand whether you can get back down to charge jump through the barricade without the ability to stop it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I think that the charge jump strat with their abilities right now, or sorry, their skills is easier, and I think he's trying to change it up. Yeah, see, I think
First try. That's not an easy. That trick is not nearly as easy as it looks. It's pretty precisely timed so that you don't take damage twice.
Yeah, you pretty much the whole point behind that, it was actually used in the all cells route, I believe, if I remember my categories correctly. And what that gives you is the ability to damage boost off the top spikes. It like propels you downward, and it while you're still in iframes, you have your charge jump queued up, and you can just kind of break it. It's a really neat trick. That was one of the cooler tricks I learned about when I was starting to delve into other categories.
Do you see this? Take a look at Sigma's screen. Do you see what he's doing right now?
Yep.
His plan is that he wants to be able to get all the way up to the Sunstone and break the barricade over here, but he doesn't have Stomp. So he's going to try to double bash his projectile all the way over here. The absolute madman. This is absolutely not intended by the logic.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Also,
he
he has
can pull it
quad
off.
jump as well. Quad jump makes this a lot easier as well.
It does, but all the 4 damage spikes make it quite a bit harder. And the fact that
a little bit. It's fine.
This looks promising.
Oh, he needs one more.
Is he actually going to do this?
He has to get it
Please.
through. Oh my. Oh no!
So close, so close. Oh, look at Raziel's. Look at Raziel on the right side. Raziel is doing the double bash method to get up to the energy cell. What's it going to be? 10 experience. But remember that there's the charge jump pickup and there's the map alter. Raziel has activated 5 of them right now, and Sigma's only activated 3. So we haven't really seen anything super valuable, and Raziel knows that, but Sigma does not. So we could see some more map alter checks from Sigma as this race progresses. We also see Raziel doing some tricky double bash strats to get up to the stomp tree, even though he doesn't need to double bash to get up here.
Oh, he got
Nice
it!
job.
Nice job by Sig.
Very nice job. That'll be very valuable. That'll be an easier path for him to get some other pickups. I think we see Sigma maybe... Oh no, he wasn't hesitating. He was waiting for his save point. This is not easy. He doesn't have dash or feather, but he does have charge jump. It is possible to do this trick with... It's possible to do this trick with 1 damage boost, but can you do it with 1 damage boost without dash?
Yes you can, although he just kind of messed it up right there. I'm pretty sure you can time... actually, no, he can't, now that I think about it.
Did Raziel just hit the charge jump pickup to the right of Stomp? Raziel is going underwater to check a pickup. He did not. He did? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, that would be strange if he missed it.
Yeah,
Sigma,
it wasn't
by the way,
anything.
alt art. He's gonna go back to the. He's gonna go back to a different teleporter.
Oh, dude, I just thought of something. You know what's an area they can get to right now that would require some backtracking to the start of the game? That would be the left glades 2 pickups that are behind the 4 energy door.
You mean the Glades laser?
The Glazer, and also they can actually do the grenade room above it as well.
They've been able to do that for quite a while because they've had 4 energy for quite a while and triple jump. They haven't checked it because those pickups take quite a while. At this point, it's less a question of what's possible to check, although of course that's important to know, and it's more a question of what is the correct pickup to check next, given that they have quite a few options, especially since Sigma has unlocked that teleporter to Sorrow, which Raziel has not. So I'll be very curious to see where Raziel goes next. I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll make that play for the Glades laser. He is going back to the Hollow Grove, which is a pretty quick way to get there.
Yep. And there's also that orb pickup above the charge flame tree as well.
I actually missed whether one of them was able to get that, so that might be on the table. I certainly don't think that both of them have gotten it. But we do see Raz going off to the right. He has a few things to check here. Yep, looks like he is going to check it.
No, you need 2 grenades for that.
Sigma just found Stomp. Sigma just found Stomp on the left side.
Okay.
With the Experience Orb and Valley Entrance. That will be very nice with Bash and Stomp. He can now get into the left side through the normal intended route. He still doesn't have Wall Jump or Climb, but he does have not only triple jump, but he has quadruple jump. So he'll be able to explore a huge number of pickups over here. This is extremely valuable. Note that Sigma does already have all of his shards, so he's really basically in go mode. Is the question of how can you get to the trees as quickly as possible. Good job by Raz finding it as well. That's great.
Yeah.
That's really, really interesting that given how far Sigma was ahead, Raziel still found Stomp when he did. And interestingly, Raz just alt-R'd. I wonder if it's possible that was a mistake. I don't think so.
No, I think he's going to go to the grenade tree right now. Because with grenade and their triple jump and stuff, they can easily enter into the grenade area, and he can check those pickups in Lost Grove.
He can. There's also, by the way, Sig on the left side of your screen is doing fast Stompless right now. I doubt he'll have too many issues with it. Yep, there he got it. He got the 1 XP as well.
Nice. Very cool. Okay, so neither of these guys. So how do you feel about who's in the lead right now? I don't know if it's easy to tell because neither of them have like feather. They're kind of on an even playing field at the current moment.
I think Sigma is ahead because of his exploration into Sorrow Pass. Raz hasn't been there at all yet. So Sigma hasn't been to Light Grenade Tree. And Raz is doing zombie ore to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Nice job by him.
Very nice.
So Sigma hasn't been where Raziel is right now. He will have to come back there later. However, Raz is going to have to go left side. He's going to have to go through Misty. He's going to have to go into Sorrow. And all of that will be quite a bit easier. I don't think either of these runners, given their experience levels, will have much issue with something like Sorrow Bash. But Sigma has already... Although I guess he actually hasn't checked that much in Sorrow, has he? I do think that Sigma is ahead, but not by that much. It was very, very valuable that Raziel was able to find Stomp when he did.
Yeah, and remember, Sig did not get charge jump, so he would have to go back to the Sorrow teleporter and do it that way again. So he'd have to do a revisit.
I wonder if he would go through the teleporter. I guess of course he would, because then he can get around there very, very quickly. And maybe that was Sigma's play all along, sort of open up the path and hope that you find Feather, because if they find Feather, then getting over to the charge jump tree is completely free. And Sigma has 5 keystones. It looks like Raziel has even more than that. So they're both fine on keystones, especially given that they've already been over to Stomp. There aren't too many key doors in their path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, another thing that I want to note. I don't believe they're really close to go mode, but I believe they need either dash or like one other skill in order to make the final escape doable at this point.
Is that because of their health level?
Because their health level. You can stomp that barrier.
But it will damage you and then you'll die in the water.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
In the fire,
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I think they need one more skill in order to finish this seed. Because they don't need wall jump or climb. Oh, Valley. Okay. Hello, Valley Teleporter. Yeah.
Now, they do have Ultra Defense, though. How does Ultra Defense factor into that equation?
So Ultra Defense will make the fire do, I believe, 3 damage to you, or it's 3 or 4. I still don't think they can finish it because they need clean water in order to. There's 2 damage boosts they would have to take. They'd have to take 1 in the fire, or unless he's able to do some sort of ridiculous like task level stomp cancel.
I don't think that's doable though. I mean, it's the impact from the stomp that breaks the wall. You have to hit the ground, which means you have to hit the fire. So yeah, maybe there's some ridiculous task thing, but I would be shocked if we saw anything like that. I think that your assessment is correct, that they have to take those 2 damage boosts. Going through the water will hurt them 4 times, but with Ultra Defense, that will only do a total of 2 damage, and they have health regen. So I actually think that Raz could survive it, just barely. Okay. And I think Sigma could as well.
Yeah, also, big deal. He just picked up a 6th health cell. This makes it doable if that fire only does 3 damage to you. If it does 4, I don't think he can do it.
If it does 4 and 2, they could still survive with health regen. We know that Raz has health regen. Does Sigma have health regen?
He does. He picked up health regen early on.
And by the way, as we're discussing this, I guarantee that both of these runners are aware of this. Sigma only has 1 tree left to get, and that's the one over in Light Grenade area. Razzle, meanwhile, still has to go up to Charge Jump, and he has to go get Climb, so he has to go through Misty and Sorrow, while Sigma only has to go down to Light Grenade. And Light Grenade is going to be pretty fast, given that they don't have Feather, and Razzle never got that Sorrow teleporter activation. He's going to have to do Sorrow Bash.
Yep, exactly.
I think making the correct play going to Misty first, because he's going to hope that he gets Feather there. Of course, we know it's not there. Although, I'm actually not sure if Sigma checked everything. He may have just decided that he was in go mode and skipped things. Still the correct play by Razzle, since he doesn't have the knowledge regardless.
Yeah.
Now here's an interesting question. How is Sigma going to get in here? There's multiple ways you can do it.
Yeah, he's doing the quad jump strat. Easy peasy.
Oh, close.
Oh, he doesn't get the no. Oh, that was the saddest just double grenade strat ever. He's like, I just want to help.
That's all right. There's lots of ways.
Falls into the abyss below him.
Lots of ways to get up there. So Sigma's very quickly approaching the end since he got all the shards. Raziel will get to Climb before too long. This may come down to... I definitely do think that Sigma's ahead. It may come down to door attempts and whether Sigma has any trouble in the escape.
Yeah.
Although Sigma also has experience in the escape taking damage in the water due to the most recent all skills routes.
Yeah, also, here's another interesting thing. Raziel has 6 HP. He's found another health cell somewhere, so he's good to go theoretically.
Yeah, I think he's actually had it for a little while.
Yeah, and so, but Sig found his in Sorrow because of the teleporter. So that's really interesting. They got their 6 HPs in different areas.
It is. I don't know how much of a difference it'll make. I think we are basically going to see Sig in just heading to Horror, and then he's going to be out of here. This is definitely Sigma's race to lose at this point. Raziel still has to finish up this area, which, well, he's effectively done with Misty, and then he's going to be going straight into Sorrow. This is going to be difficult. Not impossible, but difficult for Raziel to catch up. I think that Raziel needs Sigma to make some mistakes.
Yep, agreed.
Honestly, all things considering, the siege isn't over yet, but all things considering, I'm pretty impressed with this time, given that this is an expert's difficulty seed, and it prefers a hard path.
Well, yeah, and they've had no wall movement. Like, that's that's the other thing. I mean, they've had charge jump to rely on this whole time. That's it.
Well, we asked the question earlier whether the seed can be beaten without wall jump or climb. I guess we're getting our answer.
So, yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah,
Look
dude.
at
All
the
these swag grenade strats right here. I'm loving it, dude. Grenade is the best ability in the game. It's my personal opinion.
Remember when Light Grenade was awful?
Yeah, and then Light Grenade provided us the biggest skip in the whole route outside of Sorrow Bash. And then I was really happy.
By the way, left side, door attempts from Sigma.
All right.
He got it. Not first try. I think he's going to get it third try. He's not going to get it this time.
Second.
Got it. Second try. Congratulations.
I was kind of cheating since we saw him like not get it the first try, but anyway.
Well, yeah, okay, so Sig's activating his warmth returned, so it won't be cold anymore, and then he just has to do the escape. Raziel still has to do his Sorrow Bash and get to the end. I don't know whether either of these players has their SRL race open. Either way, they wouldn't have seen anything yet. I kind of doubt we'll see Sigma have too much trouble with this. It will be a little bit more difficult than usual, especially without Feather. At this point, not having Wall Jump or Climb won't make too much of a difference. You don't really use them very much in the escape.
Raz! Yes, he's in there! Oh my
job by
goodness
Raziel.
gracious.
Good
Health
job.
regen coming in the clutch.
Absolutely. One other thing to note is that ordinarily when you get to the end of the escape, there's sort of two tricks you can do. The swaggiest and time saviest thing you can do is a grenade jump. Sigma can't do that without climb. He also can't do a fish strats because it doesn't have dash. So we know for certain that he's just going to continue on to the end. And here's a moment of truth. With ultra defense, this should really not be too bad. I think this should only do 2, maybe 2.5 damage.
Should be good to go. Yep,
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna finish, yeah, easily, okay.
Skip spawning Kuro. He's going to do a few charge jumps and then some bashes. And Sigma should be out of there very, very shortly. There it is.
Very nice job from Sigma. GG to Sigma. What a great display in the final escape right there on first try. That was really, really impressive.
Raziel just found Glide in Sorrow Pass. He found it at the mapstone.
Oh
That's
my
incredible.
gosh.
That's a very nice find by him. Sort of very
Yeah.
unlucky because if he had found that earlier, man, that could have turned the tide a little bit. Maybe not a huge amount, but at least a little bit. I do almost wonder why Raziel is continuing to check pickups. I mean, it's nice that he found Glide.
Oh boy,
there.
all right, so he's doing a Taric Break strat. This is a new strat in the all skills route right here. He's gonna go down here. He's gonna kill himself by doing a charge jump in a direction. He didn't get it there. And
Remember that he Raz can't do the normal rocket jump strat without dash.
There
Nice
he
job.
is. Nice job with the Terror Break.
And I'm sure he'll just be going straight left. Unlike Sigma, he won't have to do any silly shenanigans to get over here. He'll be able to just float over without a care in the world. Unfortunately, it's just little too late. As I said, it is interesting that Razo was even continuing to check pickups at this point in the race.
Yeah, he might have just not felt comfortable doing the final escape without some sort of help with the vertical movement.
Yeah.
So I guess pays off for him. It's gonna make it a little easier. Although he still has to do the stomp the stomp.
Sigma has finished his race with an SRL time of 53 minutes and 47 seconds. Fantastic job by him. I mean, that's a good time for any run, especially a solo shard seed, solo shard seed that is 2.0 expert hard path.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a good job by him.
That seed was actually very, very generous with the shards. Like, they put them in very easy to find locations. It didn't really have to go out of your way to like some weird pickups in order to find them. So even though it was a little bit starved and you could tell it was an expert because I had no wall movement, that still was like an insanely good time.
Well, it's also very nice that they got double jump and triple and quadruple jump as quickly as they did. Without that and without climb and wall jump, this would have been much more difficult. And a good job traversing them by both of them. Like, Raziel's on his way to Horu. Raziel will be finishing up, in a few minutes here whenever he gets the door and his escape. This is not a bad time by Raz. He did a very good job on this seed.
No, he can still get sub-hour.
Well, it's hard to think of any one. Ordinarily, when we finish up these seeds, we tend to sort of try to look at things and analyze what might have gone wrong for one player. It's hard to really think of anything that Raz did catastrophically wrong. He just sort of was a little bit slower than Sigma. Raziel did miss the Sorrow teleporter, but to be honest, going to the Sorrow teleporter didn't give Sigma that much of an advantage. He was able to drop down to charge jump from the top, but I don't know how much faster that is than doing a quick Sorrow Bash.
All right, so now Raziel has made his way all the way to Horu, and we'll see how many door attempts. I'm going to say first try for Raz. Nope.
Not first try. He could still tie Sigma second try. Or third try. Is he doing a save drop? Oh my goodness.
He's doing the save drop.
Oh yeah,
dude.
I like this. This is good spirit. Raziel, I'm sure, has seen his SRL race and he knows that Sigma's already done. I like this because it's a show of good sportsmanship. Sort of do some funny tricks that you don't ordinarily do in these runs anymore, just to show off. I like that. That's good sportsmanship.
Yeah, definitely. Also, we got to give some love to save dropping. Save dropping is awesome.
If I recall, there was a doubles race recently where the players did a save drop.
I believe it was. I don't know. It might have been the third, fourth place match. I'm not quite certain. Were you a part of that, Grim? I think you were.
I've forgotten it. It's a repressed memory.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, we got Raziel going into the final escape. Let's see if he can do some task level stomp cancels and get through this perfectly fine.
I doubt Raz will have any problems. I sort of feel a little silly being so blasé on the commentary side, but I mean, Raz is a very experienced runner. You could see from the stats page before this race started, both of these guys have 31 PBs in Ori, which is extremely, extremely impressive. Which means that Randomizer always has an element of luck and an element of whether you just make good routing decisions. But I mean, in terms of raw execution, both Sigma and Raz are incredibly good. We'll see Raz doing the same things. Accidentally took damage here. That's fine. He gets to try it again. He just has to take one damage boost there, and then he'll be able to damage boost through the water successfully.
So I think also too he should be charge jumping this as well. I think he was trying to double jump, which is what was the problem right there.
Maybe. I mean, with quadruple jumps, you can certainly survive it. I think he won't be able to survive now. So, yeah, we'll see him probably take a death. Interesting. I don't know if he can actually survive this right now without clean water.
Nope.
Well, another time. I will say I think this has been a really cool exhibition. I'm sure most of you watching right now are already Ori people, so we all know each other and all that. But for anyone who might be tuning in who is not as familiar with Ori or the community around this, I think this has been a good showcase of 2.0 as compared to 1.0. It didn't make a huge impact in this run, but even just the fact that Sigma got that teleporter, that's something that can't happen in 1.3, and I think it adds a really interesting element to the randomizers.
I actually think that was actually the difference in the time it took them to get to the charge jump tree, was that Sara teleporter, because it took Raz, he had to go all the way around, and
Sigma also had to go there, and it took him quite a while to get through with his limited abilities. And then he sort of had to come back there later. So I'm sure once the path was opened up, it was faster for Sigma, but it did take him a while to get there. We could go through and do the timing if we really wanted to, but I'm not convinced that all things equal, it would have been faster to just do Sara Bash. I mean, Sara Bash is a very difficult trick, as anyone learning all skills could tell you, but for runners of this caliber, it's a very quick, easy trick.
All right, Raz is going through again. He got trolled by the vertical log there. Second, okay, he got it that time, and nice. He is through. Okay, he should be good to go now.
Man,
he should be able to take some damage boost.
You never realize how wonderful things like wall jump are until you play Randomizer.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right, Raz is through. Just like Sig, he won't be able to do a fish strats or a grenade jump, but he will be able to just climb up as usual. Kuro has not been spawned, so he can just take all the time he wants here. Few bashes, and he's free.
There you go. GG to Raz.
Wonderful job by both of these guys, especially on short notice. As we said, this was meant to be the third place singles standard limit key match between Raz and Fluffy, but Fluffy unfortunately had to bow out, and so Sigma props to him for taking the place, and for Raz to agreeing to do the new version of the randomizer, the more difficult seed on short notice like this. I think it was a great substitute. Very unfortunate that Fluffy couldn't participate, of course, but this was cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I wanted, again, just bring up that this is only an exhibition match. We want to give shout-outs to Fluffy for making it to the third and fourth. He did a hell of a job during this tournament as well to get there. As we see Raziel doing some nice little dance moves with Ori. And shouldn't be understated, how much effort gets put into like mental effort gets put into these randomizers, especially when you get seeds that are really, really starved for a while. And
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, randomizers are primarily based. You have to be able to execute as well, but I mean, it's all about knowledge. As I mentioned earlier, doing these things singles might even be a hair easier than doing them doubles because you don't have to communicate. But it's still very difficult. And we see the little Naru jumps from Raz. He's doing some dances.
Jump Naru, jump Naru, jump Naru. Oh yeah.
These are some sick dance moves.
Dude.
GG Raz
he's
coming in.
Listening to some hip hop music, some like 90s or 80s hip hop music right there as he was jumping to the end.
So final times there, Sigma came in with a time of 53:47, and he will win over Raz with a time of 1 hour, 1 minute, and 10 seconds. But fantastic job at both of them. And we do have Mr. Sigma himself in for an interview.
Yo, dude.
So how are you, Sig?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. That seed was not so kind, though.
No,
I
it
kind of
wasn't.
wanted a way to deal with walls, but that didn't happen.
It's sort of funny. We discussed early in the race whether it was possible to make it through the whole seed without wall jump or climb, and clearly it is.
Yeah. I mean, even the expert logic is not that mean. Like, they were somewhere. There was plenty of stuff I didn't check, though, so, you know, somewhere along one of those, probably.
One of the things you didn't check because you went a completely different route is Raziel actually found Glide in Sorrow at the mapstone in Sorrow.
Like the fragment, or like the
fragment.
Oh
The
my
fragment.
goodness, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
Oh, it's so. I had a question I wanted to ask you, Sigma. You found the Sorrow teleporter activation down in Grotto. What were you thinking when you found it, and sort of what were your criteria when you were thinking about whether to teleport there, or if to teleport there at all?
Well, I think I learned a valuable lesson about when to use the Sorrow teleporter in this seed. But when I found it, I was like, oh man, well, I know it's a lot faster to get to sea jump that way, but it's like without Stomp, it's really kind of annoying, as you can see. And my plan was like, okay, well, I don't have Stomp, but I can break this floor. And then I thought I could get through the spikes with only 1 damage taken, but I forgot that you need dash to do that, so I was like, oh, well, I'll just go search pickups in Lower Sorrow, and it's like, well, I don't have dash, and I don't have Stomp, so I can't go down. That was a fun 5 minutes or so.
Oh man.
Well, it's fascinating because Raz actually did not find that teleporter pickup. And so we were sort of having some discussion about whether optimally it would have been faster to do what you did and go there and sort of try to work your path around. Doing the double bashes, if I recall correctly, is not intended in Expert, sort of the way that you were able to
I
eventually
didn't
get
even
around.
put that in Master. I just was like, hey, I can probably do this, and then it didn't work very well.
Yeah, so I mean, Raz
the
ended up
funny-
just... Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, the funny thing is that I accidentally, like, when I was gonna go left side, I teleported to Grove, and then I was like, oh yeah, I got the Sorrow teleport, I'll just go there instead. And then, you know, a couple minutes later, after failing that strat up there for a bit, it was like, going back to Grove. Let's go in the normal way.
Yeah. One question I actually do have as well. I noticed, as compared to what Raziel did, you were not really checking map alters all that much. Was there a particular reason you decided to skip a bunch of them? I think you only got up to 3 for most of it.
Well, like, I got the ones that were along my way to things, but I wasn't going to go out of my way to check a single map alter when I could go somewhere that has like 4 or 5 pickups in it.
Okay, completely fair. We were just kind of wondering. We saw, it was like, oh my god, he's still got 5 map stones in his inventory. He's got
I was
him for
finding
days.
a lot of them. I had in the back of my mind, like, I could always use the Blackroot one, and I never used the Swamp one, but well, it would have been smart for me to put in the Swamp one, but at the time that I, like, finished the Ginsu escape, I was like, oh, I'm totally in go mode, I don't need Stomp, and then, well, I guess I didn't need Stomp, as long I could have done, like, the Boulder strats in Sorrow or something silly like that, but yeah.
Well, I have another question, not even directly related to what just happened in the seed, but this whole thing was put together relatively quickly since Fluffy had to unfortunately duck out of his race. Was it your idea to do 2.0 Expert as opposed to just sort of a traditional standard limit keys seed or something, or was that like Meldon who decided that or something?
I actually have no idea whose idea it was, because we had like a discussion about it, and people were like, what do we play? Play Expert, play Shards, play Limit Keys, play 2.0, and we just ended up settling on this because we figured it would be fun for an exhibition. It would be a little bit of a gong show with the teleporters, probably.
Oh, absolutely. We were all hoping, of course, for the Forlorn teleporter right off the bat.
I was expecting like this would be slightly curated and it would be like Bash Grenade Forlorn, but yeah, it wasn't quite that bad. Although the complete lack of wall jump and climb was quite something. So
Well, that's where it's nice that you guys got double jump and triple and quadruple jump pretty fast.
yeah, that was saving everything about this. This would have been so hard without double jump.
Well, Trojan, do you have other questions? Otherwise, I have one more.
Not too. So actually, what was kind of your thought process behind making this 2.0 version, where like you are now using the teleporters? I remember back when I think it was 1.2 came out, we started using the petrified plants, and that was kind of a big deal because there's so many plants, and everyone was like, "Oh, everyone's getting burned by all these different plants," around. What was kind of your thought process behind adding the teleporters as random, kind of pickup activations?
Well, one of the big things about the version 1 and prior versions is that there's this like hard rule that in both standard and expert, bash and stomp were locked onto the right side of the map. And that's fine in a way, but I felt like seeds could have more variety if things weren't so set in stone. So that's one of the reasons that in expert 2.0, you only need one of bash or stomp to do the valley entry, like putting the teleporters aside, so that there's the potential for either of them to show up on the left from time to time. And then all the teleporters themselves make, those skills able to appear on the left side of the map quite a lot, because you could, barely have any movement abilities and get the valley teleporter, and there's a little bit of stuff you can check around there without bash or stomp, so they could show up in that kind of area. And as everybody knows, since this rando was inspired by the Link to the Past one, the pickup in Link to the Past that the teleporters are trying to mirror is the flute, where you can fly around the map like with this one item really early on and get to places out of sequence.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I have one more question then. So we've gone through a few randomizer versions, and now we're at 2.0. What's another good example of some feature you've maybe been toying with? What might we expect in the future of randomizer?
I don't have enough ideas to put together another version just yet, so for a little bit it's likely just to be kind of path fixes and additions to let people do things in more varied ways. But I think the most interesting area of expansion is new modes. So we've had limit keys and shards, which were vastly more popular than the default mode, where you were stuck looking for the single sunstone for forever and half your seeds. And 2.0 added the clues mode, which is another way of sort of mitigating the key hunt. And I had, I think, a discussion with a few people in Discord a while back, and we were kind of tossing around ideas for other modes, or like, needing to do escapes or stuff like that. So you might see some kind of different sort of key management type thing in the next version.
Sounds awesome. Well, I'll be excited to see that whenever. And in the meantime, we have plenty of variety with all the possible seeds in the current randomizer. Well, congratulations, Sig, on your victory, and Raz, congratulations as well. It was pretty impressive that you guys were able to get the times that you did, given all the parameters on this seed. That was a pretty damn good time.
Yeah, that seed was not an easy seed.
Yeah, you earned definitely both of your G's in that seed. That was probably not entertaining from the player perspective, especially when we saw you do the bash tactic to open up your ability to get back down sorrow, and then you realize you went there. It's like, well, I can't really do anything after you went that whole way.
Oh man, that was such a big mistake. I feel like I got very lucky on a lot of my other choices, but that was a huge mistake that lost me a lot of time. But other things like going in Ginso with, crap all for abilities and finding bash right at the top, that was really lucky.
Agreed. Well, that'll do it for us today. We do have another match tomorrow, which is the finals for doubles. It's Team Skillless versus Team That Is Faster at 4 o'clock EDT on Ori Speedrunning. So look forward to that. We will also have a singles finals match coming in the future, hopefully within the next week, and we'll update when that is known.
And
otherwise,
it is a best of 3 as well.
It is. It is. That is very important to point out. So definitely tune in for that. It'll be a good time. But otherwise, that'll do it for us. So thanks to Trojan for commentating with me. And we also had, as I said, we had Meldon in the truck. We had Kyrafel in the truck. We had Richard helping in the truck. And we also had Griff's restreaming. So big shout outs to all of them.
Definitely as well. And thank you for having me, guys. It was quite a pleasure commentating with you, especially Grim.
Yeah, it's fun.
Always a fun chat.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone.
Remembers that top left keystone because that's Dash. That's huge. I think he saw it on his screen as he was going down.
Oh, he forgot it! He doesn't
man, that and Dash was in the top. So brutal. There's no way he's gonna get that now.
Right? Beautiful. 7 XP. Oh, Wilson! Wilson, what are you doing? No! Don't forget. Always. Oh, Wilson, what are you doing? You just got wall jump. You can go in. You have charge jump. Go in the thing. Okay, he's got it. It's very good. Oh, no. Still. Oh, health regen. Saving him. Oh, health regen.
Man, he's doing.
Oh, health regen saving him again.
Oh, you leveled up. He's
Oh, jeez.
All the time. Please don't die. Go on.
So he has he has pretty much everything.
No, please. Oh, he could have saved it. He should have went to the right side wall. No. He's in disbelief right now as well. He has things that he required and.
All right, but is he gonna skip over Bash? Oh no! He's walking past it. Let's see.
Correct area of it.
Oh, the Bash find from Raz's opponent is Raziel. Oh no! Oh, yeah,
Not kicking it up.
You'll be able to see whether it was water vein or not.
Yeah,
Oh,
here
man.
we go.
What is it? It's
Oh,
not.
the experience!
It's not.
Oh, man! Oh, 50% chance of a Forlorn seed. Yeah, looks like Fluffy now is abandoning the Fluffy way and embracing Team Forlorn. Is this going to be possible? But he doesn't have Bash.
It is possible. It is just the hardest thing in the world, and you end up.
What, really?
Stomping up there.
What? Oh my god.
What? How did he do that so quickly?
Play some monument, but it looks like he is going to let the Froggy break the block. So he will get in that XP and it's Bash!
You head up to the
Oh no. Oh, Oshi did. That's lovely. Is he gonna do it? Please! No! I'm so sad that he's making the choice because it's going to put him way behind for the time being.
Commentator curse.
why does this happen to us?
Oh, the rock is on the head of the frog.
Frog just balancing that rock on his head.
But oh, good lord, there's so many screens. Alright. On the bottom right, you got Uncle Roddy and Hitachi Hex, and for some reason they get consigned to the small space.